Welcome to my channel. My name's Angela and this is Plymouth Frocktails. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you so much to everybody that commented on my last video. It was incredibly kind of you. I know that life isn't always completely straightforward, and everybody has been so amazingly kind and really lovely in the comments, and I just so appreciate it. I could feel the love and the warmth coming through from all of you, so thank you so much. So just to quickly report back on a couple of things I touched on last time. First of all, my dad is out of hospital now. He did have a little bit of a bumpy ride. It didn't quite go as straightforward as we would have liked it to, but only because he had a little bit of a bad reaction to some of the medication that he had been put on. But he is absolutely fine now. And in fact, today he's had his bandages and things taken off and he's feeling a lot better. So all good news there. And as far as my daughter is concerned, she was going through an incredibly rough patch and really needed our help and needed her situation to change, and thankfully we've been able to do that, and she is in a much better and much happier place. So we are all very relieved and very happy. So thank you so much to everybody that showed concern and mentioned that. That's really kind of you. I also just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that has donated so far on my fundraising page for the London Marathon. I'm raising money for the Brain and Spine Foundation together with my friend Karen, who I'm running it with, and I'm just so appreciative of everybody that has donated. It's really kind of you. We've actually reached our target now, and now we're just hoping to make as much money for the charity as we possibly can. I also wanted to say thank you as well. I've had quite a few people donate to my Ko-fi account recently in support of my channel, and had some incredibly kind comments and messages from you saying that you really appreciate my videos, and that's just so lovely, and it really helps to make these videos and feel like it's a worthwhile thing to do. So thank you from the very bottom of my heart to you. So today I have decided to do a bit of a different video. I have been having a major declutter in my house recently, from kitchen utensils, general items within my house, my wardrobes, just various things like that. And I've been going through bit by bit in my house, and it is far from completed, and I still want to do lots more. And I have to say, it's such a wonderful feeling when you have decluttered and everything feels a little bit more spacious and freer and able to clean easier, etc. So I've been really enjoying that, although it does take quite a bit of oomph to sort of get going and get doing it. One of the areas that I have been slightly decluttering but not fully yet, and I do want to do it further, is my wardrobe and the things that I wear. Now, I've decided that I want to change the way in which I plan how to decide on what I'm going to make, because while I have been doing a few bits of decluttering, I've realised I do have a lot of garments that I just don't wear. And when you've bought garments, you do think to yourself, oh, I've really wasted that money on it, especially if you haven't worn them at all or very little. Maybe you've got garments that you haven't worn for a long time, but you did wear them a lot, and that's fine, because times change, style changes, your taste changes, etc. But when you've actually spent time making those garments as well as money, it's harder to let go. And I don't know if anybody else feels that, but I feel like, oh, I can't get rid of it because I made it. So I want to be so much more in tune with what I actually want to wear going forward, and being so much more mindful with my makes. And I think that that's going to mean that my makes are going to slow down considerably, because I want to, instead of just mass producing or getting out as many items as I can because I find it exciting to sew, actually sort of hone my hobby into getting things that suit me really well, that fit my lifestyle and actually fit my body as well. So when I was trying to decide how to do this, I was writing down sort of little bits and pieces and thinking about what would be useful to help decide on how you actually come up with a plan. And I feel like I've come up with a 5-step system. So I'm going to take you through that. So the first step 1, is to describe your style. Now, I am going to be very open here and say that I've actually whipped this idea off of another YouTuber who is not a dressmaker. She was talking about this and discussing this in regards to making sure that you don't overbuy clothes, and her name is Diane, and she has a YouTube channel called Diane in Denmark. She is a decluttering queen, and she uses the Fly Lady system. It's very interesting. She's absolutely delightful. She lives in Denmark, but I think she's Scottish, and I really loved one of the ideas that she came up with when deciding on when you're buying clothes, making sure you have 3 words that describe your style. And if you cannot pick an item off of the rail and describe it in the 3 words that are in tune with you, then it's not the item for you. Now, she's come up with a whole load of words, and I am going to list those words in the description below. There are too many for me to actually sort of, read out to you here, but I'll just read out, say, 6 or so. So she's got things like edgy, vintage, romantic, fun, effortless, polished, boho, rustic, delicate, soft. So she's got all sorts of different words. That's just a few. And the list that she's given is also not limitless. You could have your own words that describe your style. But the main thing is to try to whittle down what you feel your style is. Now, that might be the style that you are currently in, and we all have seasons in our life, and I don't mean summer, winter, spring and autumn. I mean seasons of life. So it might be that you're a full-time mum and you don't need to be wearing office attire, and that's so you need to be making things that suit you, that you like wearing, you feel nice in, because just because you're at home doesn't mean that you can't feel nice, or that you don't have almost like your own uniform that you wear at home that makes you feel, good in yourself. So you might be a stay-at-home mum, but you need to be comfortable. You can't be wearing suits or, skirt suits and really tight-fitting dresses and high heels when you're running around after children. But let's just say your children have grown up and now you're going to go back into full-time work, or vice versa, you've been in full-time work and you're going to be a stay-at-home mum. The style that you had in that season of your life is now very different from this season of your life. So there are different seasons, and that's okay, and that's why sometimes we have to reevaluate our wardrobe and our style. Now, I am going to put a caveat on that and just say that whilst you might choose 3 words that describe your style, that might be the style that you really like and feel comfortable in when you're going out. It is also perfectly fine to have, your sloppy at home clothes, your joggers and your tracksuit tops and things like that. But that's not to say you can't make those things and make them just a little bit more special, so that your at-home clothes are just as special as your outdoor clothes. They're just a different style. So choose 3 words that describe your style for the particular outfit and season of your life that you want to be wearing. And in particular, I just want to put a note on that to say, don't just go with the latest trend that is out there. Now, that's twofold. That's either the latest trend in style that's in the shops, or just the latest style of pattern that's come out, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to suit you. And I've talked about this on other videos of mine, where I have seen so many people making beautiful dresses or garments that I really, really love, and it suits them and looks absolutely beautiful for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it suits my body shape and my style. So just be really mindful of that. So no matter what it is that I plan to make, one thing that I will absolutely 100% be using the whole time that I make any of the garments coming up will be my Serious Readers light. Serious Readers provide these lights that use something called daylight wavelength technology. Now, I know you've heard me speak about these before. I cannot tell you how much I absolutely love these lights. Now, of course, of a night time, I use them all the time when I'm sewing, but I do also use them during the day. They're so handy, they're so versatile. The light that they provide is completely natural. It doesn't it's not hard on your eyes, it doesn't hurt your eyes, it's not yellowing in any way, and the area that you're working on when you have the beam from the light coming down does feel like you're working in perfect, lovely daylight. They're really easy to use because they have this really nice, strong, flexible arm on them, which you can literally bend in any direction. You know, they are, you know, really, really bendy, and they're really strong, and they go back into shape really easily as well. But the heads that are on them are fully twistable. They twist in almost 360 degrees. They are also movable up and down, and you can adjust the beam of light. So if you can imagine you're doing something like I was recently and having to unpick some navy blue thread from a navy blue shirt that I was making because I'd made some mistakes. It's very, very hard, even in normal daylight, to be able to see what it is you were doing. But I was able to pull this down completely into position and just have that light, and it just illuminated it and made it so easy to use. So today I have a discount code for you. I will put that code across the screen. The code will also be in the description of this video below, together with the website details for serious readers. They are offering £150, which I think is fantastic, of any of their high definition range, and free delivery to anybody living in the UK. Not only are they doing this, but they are also very kindly sponsoring and providing a prize draw for the Frocktails event that I'm putting on in March with Lizzie from Make at Fabric Boutique. So we are so delighted and just so pleased, and I'm so happy that somebody else in the sewing community is going to be able to get the opportunity to win one of these and use one of these lamps. But please do go and have a look at their lights. They are absolutely fantastic, and I can't say anything more other than I would not be without mine. In fact, if I could, I'd have more around the house. So step 2 is to make a mood board. Now, a mood board is where you collect ideas from all sorts of different types of media. So there are different ways of doing this. I love Pinterest. Not everybody likes Pinterest, and that's fine, but I like to go on Pinterest and pin different things. I've got so many different boards on my Pinterest account. I've got things from fancy cake ideas, home decor ideas, how to put your hair up, sewing patterns I'd like to make, fashion ideas I'd like to try. I've got all sorts of different things on my Pinterest board, and it's quite good fun to do. I've even got like a silly jokes one and things like that. And you can make those boards collaborative as well. So I share a couple of the boards with my daughters. We've got some recipe ideas which we share with each other on Pinterest, and that's really nice to do that. So there's Pinterest. You can also save posts from Instagram and have that in a saved board of your own, and again you can categorize them. You don't have to just have it in one big amalgamated saved location. You can put different boards in. So again, on there I've got things like hair ideas, silly things that make me laugh, items that I've seen that people have made that I think, oh, I really want to make those. But likewise, you might not be into techie kind of stuff, and that's absolutely fine too. And you might get lots of magazines or see things, brochures that come through the door, and see styles that you like. Tear some of those pages out and pop them into a notebook or something like that, and just save the sorts of things that you really like the idea of. It doesn't matter in which way that you do it, but start to accumulate some ideas of the fashion and the styles and the looks that you particularly like. Now, I have got a subsection to this step 2. So 2.1 is to just go and try before you, well, this term is try before you buy, but I want to say try before you put endless amounts of hours and time and money into making a garment, which, let's face it, is way harder than just buying something. So if you are looking at particular styles and you have accumulated a load of different styles, whether that's on Pinterest, Instagram, or in some sort of manual format, have a look at the style that's sort of occurring the most and think to yourself, okay, do I wear that normally? Is that the sort of thing that suits me? Is it the sort of thing I've ever worn before? And if it's not, then it might be worth just going to some shops and having a little bit of a try before you buy. I don't mean buy it and take it home, although I suppose you could and just try it and style it with a few bits and pieces. But I do think it's really helpful to go in and try some styles on in the shops. Doesn't mean that they're the exact colour that you like. So for example, I made the Blanca flight suit in the last sort of 6 months or so. I've made 2 versions of it now. I didn't know if it was something that I would particularly like, but I saw a flight suit really similar to it in a shop in the UK, and I decided to try it on, but it was in the most luminous orange you've ever seen, and there is absolutely no way on this planet I would have bought that and worn it. It's not my cup of tea at all, but trying it on I could see that the style suited me, just not the colour, although I have to say I think the colour did suit me, but I just didn't like it. Just quite funny. So yes, do a little bit of a try before you put the hard work in. Because let's face it, it's so much easier to return an item when you buy it, but you just cannot return the hours of time that you spent or the money, because let's face it, fabric isn't always cheap. So yeah, just make sure you try it first. It's a safe option. So step 3 is group your garments together. So this is a strange one. Now I know that, let's say for example, the flight suit that I was just talking about, that is a piece that you'd wear completely on its own. And you might make a dress, so you'd wear that dress completely on its own. But you might be into blouses or t-shirts or trousers or skirts and things like that. So be mindful that you have something that you can wear with it, or that you plan to make something that you can wear with it. Don't just have a random piece because you've seen it somewhere else and you liked the look of it. It's no good making that if you then can't wear it to go with something. And I will just say, even with things like my flight suit, I actually do struggle sometimes when I want to wear something a little bit warmer with it, because I don't have any cardigans or tops or jackets or anything that particularly suit that style. And I come a little bit unstuck when the weather's a bit cooler. I don't often like wearing stuff underneath the jumpsuit, so I would prefer to put something on the top, and at the moment I don't have anything like that. So really think about what your garment that you plan to make is going to either match with things that you already have within your armour, within your wardrobe and your closet. And if you are desperate still to have that item but you don't have anything that matches it, then maybe think about planning an outfit as opposed to one particular garment. And with that in mind, when you are looking at your garment, sometimes you can have a little look and think, what else could that go with? How else could I style it? And again, that's why Pinterest is so good, because you can put in there a garment and just put such and such outfits. And more often than not, it will come up with so many different types of outfits that could go with the garment that you're looking to make. So let's just say it's a slip skirt. So you'll have people that have slip skirts with, you know, a t-shirt, and somebody else that does it with wears it with a bodysuit or a blouse or a blazer or a big jumper with a belt on it. And there's lots of different sort of options. So it's really good to then see that the garment that you're going to be making isn't just one garment. It actually can help you create several outfits as opposed to just that one. Step 4 is pick your pattern. So this is an obvious one. Obviously, you have seen something that you want to make. Now, it might be that you've seen a ready-to-wear item. You might have seen somebody on the TV that had something and you thought, oh, I'd like to make something like that. It could be that you've seen somebody on YouTube or on Instagram that's actually made something and you think, I would like to make that. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong in going out and buying brand new patterns. We all do it all the time. We all buy new fabric, we buy new patterns. But what I will say is just be mindful that there are a lot of patterns that we all own that are very similar. I have definitely got patterns that I have purchased and then I've realised I've got a pattern incredibly similar to it. Now, body blocks are different for everybody and for every company, so you may want to explore different pattern companies in that respect, but just check what you've got in your pattern catalogue, if you like, before you go out and buy. So let's just say, for example, you have a pair of trousers that you've made that you absolutely love and you know they fit you and they suit you and you really like them and they're wide leg and they're just fabulous. But you want to make that pair of trousers that you've seen and they're much thinner legged or they're tapered or, you know, just slightly different in some way. just sort of analyse the pattern. Is it the same as the pattern that you've got, but the legs are different? Well, could I taper that down? Could I have a little look and see if there are any blog posts on doing that or YouTube videos on doing that? Because sometimes we can save ourselves a little bit of money and certainly some time as well, because you know, you'd have to recut a pattern and refit it and all that kind of thing. And if you know that trouser pattern fits you well across your hips and your waist, then if we can just alter the legs, then that's a great option and a money saving option, and gives the one pattern that you've got so much more versatility. But you could also amalgamate different patterns as well. So let's just say, for example, you have a dress pattern that you really like. You know that the bodice and the skirt fits you really nicely and the sleeves fit you. But you have another pattern and the sleeves on that are different and fancier, and you quite like the idea of those sleeves on that dress. Just amalgamate the patterns. It's really simple to do, and there are so many tips and tricks on, again, YouTube and blog posts and Instagram posts on how to do this. And again, it just gives you that so much more flexibility and versatility with the patterns that you already have. That said, there's nothing wrong with if you want to go out and buy a brand new pattern too. I know that's always really exciting, but I just sort of encourage you to have a look at what you've already got before going wild and buying more. You can tell I've been listening to lots of decluttering videos, can't you? Step 5 is choose your fabric wisely. So not just choose your fabric, but choose your fabric wisely. And what I mean by this is, think about the fabric not just because you like it. So I am quite often drawn to anything that is really rainbowy, really bright, vibrant, has rainbow colours in it, or has rainbow patterns in it. I just absolutely love them. They just make me feel really, really happy. But in reality, I will not wear that. It's not what I would wear. And I have bought fabrics before, not just rainbow fabrics, but I have bought fabrics before that I am so drawn to because they make me feel so happy and so nice. But when I wear them, they don't make me feel like that. And I actually prefer, not all of the time, but I do actually prefer wearing quite a lot of plain clothing. And I just feel nicer in that, or more put together. I do still wear patterned clothing, of course I do, but it has to be what I feel really, really comfortable in. But you also need to be thinking about the texture of the fabric. Is it the right sort of texture for the garment that you're making? And I think sometimes it's a really good idea to have a look at fabrics in your wardrobe that you have already, especially if you're somebody that's new to sewing and you don't know what fabrics to be looking for. Then have a look at your ready to wear garments and look at the labels. If you have a skirt that you particularly like the feel of and the drape of and the way the fabric moves and is on you, then maybe that's the sort of fabric that you should be looking at making your garments with, or a skirt in particular with, if that's what you like. But have a look on the label, have a look to see what it is, and think about the fact that if you were to make that in, say, a cotton, and a stiff cotton, it certainly wouldn't have the drape of a viscose skirt. And it has to be really appropriate for the garment that you're making. And again, as with the previous point, just to check that you don't already have some fabric that would be appropriate for that garment in your stash already. I am definitely guilty of just going out and buying new fabric because I fancy making something new and not double checking my stash. And again, because I'm trying to declutter and minimize things a little bit, I'm really trying to look at the fabric that I've got and use what I have instead of just going out and buying brand new fabric. Definitely on a decluttering road trip at the moment. So the 5 steps, just to recap on making a thoughtful plan and making clothes that are going to really work for you, are to describe your wardrobe, describe your style in 3 words, make some mood boards, gather ideas and collect different pictures of the sorts of things that you think you'd like to be wearing. Try to group your clothing so that you know that they will work with other garments that you have within your wardrobe, or that you are going to make a whole outfit as opposed to just one garment. Pick your pattern and pick your fabric. And then finally, make the garment or garments enjoy the process, wear them and be really proud of what you've done. So with that in mind, that's how I am going to be planning my next makes. I'm either going to be sharing a plan of 1 or 2 garments that are going to fit in with the rest of my wardrobe, or I'm going to plan on making a full outfit so that it doesn't end up being one garment that I can't wear because I don't have anything to go with it. I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video. I know it's a little bit different. My next video that I'm going to be bringing out to you will be next week, and that is going to be a little bit of a roundup of some of the makes that I've made throughout January and part of February. I know some of you will have seen a few snippets of those from some of my Friday Sews videos that I've done, but I am also going to be sharing with you some crocheting that my daughter Ellen has been making, and I'm also going to be sharing with you a few knitted garments that my other daughter Amy has been making. So I hope that you look forward to watching that. I really hope that you've enjoyed watching today. I've really enjoyed going through and thinking about what the process is going to be, and I'm hoping that using this process in the future is going to make me so much more mindful of the makes that I make in 2025. Let me know if you have any other ideas about being more mindful about your makes, and if you think that this is something that you might use and adapt yourself. Other than that, I'm just going to ask, if you don't subscribe to my channel, then please do. If you enjoy the content, it would be really great. It helps me out massively. But other than that, I'm going to say see you later. You take care, have a really good week, and I'll see you next week.